Today on Torah Tech Tips, we're going to the beach. Hello, I'm Rabbi David. Welcome to Torah Tech Tips, where I share with you great tips for great Torah. You know, when this whole mess with the pandemic and having to be online what seems like 24 hours a day started, one of the things that really captured our attention, our curiosity, and really brought some fun into the dire situation that we were put into was virtual backgrounds. Being able to hold a class, to teach a class, to hold a service, to do whatever you wanted to do from wherever you wanted. You could go to the beach. You could do it in Israel. I led services from the Kotel a couple of times, right? Because of the power of virtual backgrounds. Zoom has it built right in. As long as you're not on a Chromebook, as long as you have a computer that's powerful enough, I believe it's an i5 processor or more, then virtual backgrounds are fantastic. They're so much fun. But they can also cause some problems. And while I, at the beginning of this, loved virtual backgrounds, in fact, the first couple of videos that I did here for Torah Tech Tips were with virtual backgrounds behind me, I have since fallen deeply out of love with them. And instead, I focused on making my setup look better. And I want to tell you both the good and the bad of virtual backgrounds. So first of all, virtual backgrounds, or keying, chroma keying, which is really what the technology is, what that does is it takes everything except you and it makes it transparent and then puts an image behind you. So you can have any image you want behind you, and depending on the way you're set up, it will either look okay or not so okay, or maybe sometimes good. It rarely looks fantastic. It's the same technology that the people on the news use when they're doing the weather, right? They're not actually standing in front of a weather map. They're standing in front of a green screen or a chroma key, I'm going to show you my chroma key in just a second, and I'll link to the one that I purchased down below. It's the cheapest one I could find, and it's fantastic. I love it. But there are a couple of things to realize about virtual backgrounds before you just dive in. First of all, I have found that they can be more distracting than helpful, especially if they're not done well. If you don't have a green screen behind you, if you're just throwing up a virtual background, I found that when you move, your arms can disappear, or different parts of your instrument can disappear. Or if you're not wearing the right color clothing, you can disappear. If you're wearing something green or lime green or even a light blue, you can sometimes disappear. I found it sometimes to be more of a hassle and really more distracting than it has been helpful. But if you have the right setup, it really can be a lot of fun. So I want to show you what it looks like when I have my green screen up. So before I even turn on the green screen effect, the virtual background, let me just pull up my green screen. So you can see right now it's literally just a green screen. I bought this at Walmart. It was $100-something, I think. And it just pulls right up, pulls right down. Now, if I were to turn on my green screen right now, that part would disappear and everything else would look a little strange. Let me see if I can show that to you. Yeah. Okay, so you see I've got a brick there, a brick wall, but you can see the rest of my office behind me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that I'm actually somewhere else, right? And I'm going to change my entire view. I'm at the beach. Look at that. I'm going swimming at the beach. See, now virtual backgrounds are fun, but the reason this virtual background works, if you think it works, I don't. But if you think it works, if you think it looks better than yours perhaps, if I'm not disappearing into the green screen, into the virtual background, that's because of two things. Number one, because I have a virtual green screen behind me. If I lower this, you'll see, it's kind of freaky, isn't it? But because I have a real green screen behind me, I can click on the color. In Zoom or in any program I'm using, I can click on the color, the green color, and then the program knows what to erase from the picture and where to put the replacement image. The other thing that's really important when it comes to virtual backgrounds is lighting. We talked about this last time. If you don't have your green screen lit well, then you're going to get shadows and it's not going to look right. It's not going to look good. So it's really important if you want to use virtual backgrounds, focus on what your goal is, right? Your goal is to share great Torah. Your goal is to connect to people and help them feel connected to you, to God, to Torah, to Judaism, to all of that. Sometimes using a virtual background can be helpful. Sometimes it can be. Other times, I think it can be distracting. So I'm going to turn mine off so we're not so distracted. And lower that. And now I'm back. So, couple takeaways. If you have a green screen, by the way, you don't have to buy a pull-up shade green screen. You can actually just go buy a piece of green felt or material, put it up behind you. You can get really cheap green screens paper if you want on Amazon. Anything you want, but remember why you're using it. What is your goal? And if it's going to help you accomplish your goal, try your best to do it well, so it's not more distracting than it is helpful. Maybe grab a green screen, make sure that lighting is good. All right, I always promise you something free. Here's my freebie for this week. The freebie for this week is, if you're streaming to Facebook or YouTube from Zoom, remember what you see is what you get. And what I mean by that is, if you are looking on your screen, if you're the one sharing this feed out, if you're live streaming to Facebook and the Zoom screen on your computer is grid view or gallery view, then that's what's going to go to Facebook. I've watched lots and lots of services and programs where I don't see the main speaker because presumably the person who's streaming that is looking at the gallery view, which is exactly what I would be looking at because I want to see everyone's faces as the host. But when you're streaming it out, you want to remember that what you see is what you get. And so if you're looking as the streamer at the gallery view, that's what people on Facebook or YouTube are going to see also. And it may not be the best experience for those who are watching online. That's it for this week. I hope you learned a little bit something about virtual backgrounds, green screen, lighting. We'll be back next week with another edition, another episode of Torah Tech Tips.